tell us in that journey, how is it to bring that from a development standpoint, but more importantly, how is the adoption from an implementation standpoint? How is each of the teams suddenly getting a next best action from an AI? Were they receptive to it? Did they challenge? Why don't you walk us through that journey?
If you've seen anything in the news about why AI programs seem to fail with all the investment going into Gen AI, it largely comes down to change management. You can have all these tools and models and new tiles within your instances you're working in day out. But if there's no clear adoption, none of this matters. So I kind of break it down in a couple of ways, that change management process. Step one is making sure I mean, like any product, creating something that folks want to use. If you're working with field force reps, you need to be developing these models alongside them. If I tell you that the next best action is to do X, and in practice, that isn't either actionable, nor is it something that a doctor wants to hear, that's effectively a useless suggestion. So a lot of folks within their kind of AI tools have general QC folks or testing folks from a tech perspective. We've had a lot of what I'd call kind of product quality control folks, people who are taking the outputs of what might be a Gen AI suggestion or traditional AI suggestion and making sure it makes sense in that context. This has two real benefits. The first is that feedback loop is informed by the people on the front lines. So they really have skin in the game. They feel bought in. Like anything, you have to win hearts and minds with these tools because this is more than just adding in a new feature into a website. It's really a different way of working. So we found that that kind of product testing loop is the best way to really drive adoption, because the first time you give it to someone, you'll have someone on the far end of the bell curve that's an early adopter using it, and they're off and running. The other 80% of folks is both where the value is and the opportunity. And those sorts of adoption cycles are what we really focus on here, and making sure we have the right people in place who are there every day. Because like anything, you got to say something 3 times before it really gets through. You got to go through a cycle of full time before it makes sense. So that's where we really see a lot of the value be for legacy services businesses adopting these net new tools.